All set? Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Our first item is public comment. I don't see anything on there yet. If anybody has any public comment, please put it in the Facebook page, name and address, and we'll try to get back to those at the end of the meeting, or someone will be in contact with you afterwards. Next item on the agenda is board discussion. We have the Board of Education minutes from the April 19th and April 28th meeting. Anybody have any questions or comments on those? And everyone here was at both, correct? All right, so just to take a motion to approve all 3.01 through 3.04 by Ed, seconded by Sharon. All in favor? Anyone else have anything else for board discussion tonight? All right, so we'll move right along to the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everybody. Before we begin, I just want to point out that our middle school assistant principal candidate, Marissa Gordon, is with us today. And Marissa, you want to stand up? Introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to get started and be a part of the Gloversville community. So thanks for having me.
Put out in the interview process and highly recommended. I feel bad for Mahonison. That's the second administrator we've hired in the last month from them. Hopefully they don't hold it against us, but we look forward to Marissa joining our team. I want to thank Kathy Mayer for her budget presentation and remind committee members if you have any questions regarding the budget, please submit them and we'll try to answer them at the end of the meeting. I think Kathy did a great job presenting it. You know, the investment in SEL and IT, obviously in a year when the budget is decreasing, we were able to bring staff members into the organization that will help students, obviously in the short term, with what we anticipate to be COVID-related, interrupted education-related issues. We're already seeing a little bit of it in the K-8 return every day, but certainly when we assess students more, we expect to see, as time goes on, that there's probably going to be some setback in these last 14 months. I can't imagine there won't be. I've been told by the administration that it's at the elementary level it's not as bad. Maybe Lori's report will illuminate some of those facts, but we're excited about the addition of the guidance counselor, the psychologist, and very pleased with the budget that we put in front of the community and hope to support it. So thank you, Kathy, for putting that together. Just a quick update in the K-8 return. Last Monday was our first day back with all students, all hybrid students, K-8, and they're coming every day. Everything's been working out. We've had 2 COVID cases. It's resulted in about 13 students district-wide being quarantined, 13 more than we want, but all in all, we're pleased with the last 7 days. The infection rate continues to decline in our region, and we're very hopeful that we can get through the end of the school year without major disruptions to the education of the K-8 students. The 9-12 population continues to come on their hybrid schedule every other day, and we're hopeful that all students pre-K through 12th grade finish the school year on a positive note. One of the board members, Mr. Sturgis, brought up a concern about middle school traffic patterns. With the influx of students 5 days a week, it's typical what we see in September, and we're seeing it in May, and he sent me a nice diagram of the middle school parking lot. Thank you, Mr. Sturgis. It was a nice drawing. I sent it to the architect, the construction managers, middle school administration, Mr. Etherton, and Officer Bellamy, and we're starting a conversation about what we can do to address some concerns about people driving across the parking lot. People are dropping students off quite a ways away from the building, and we're hoping that possibly improve signage, if necessary, maybe creating some guardrails within the parking lot if necessary, but we certainly don't want anybody being injured out there in arrival or dismissal. So I appreciate Mr. Sturgis bringing it to our attention, and we will have more concrete plans about how to address it in the days, weeks, months ahead. I've asked Turner and CSR to come for arrival and dismissal so they can see firsthand what the issues we're facing are. But certainly, the conversation that started brings up some good points, such as education. And we need to educate parents every year. And we did not do it in May this year because with the reduced population, it wasn't an issue until we brought everybody back. But certainly moving forward, we have to do a better job of educating the parents who are dropping off students each and every day. So we'll continue to work on that. And Mr. Sturgis, if you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I mean, I think you hit it on that. It's not, I mean, we're obviously living in kind of sort of safe, but equally, this also involves the parents too. Like, there's definitely ownership on the adult side of this too, of parents not following the rules, cutting people off, cutting between spaces. Somebody's going to get hurt. So I think everybody got to pitch in together and fix the problem.
I think it's a great point, and something that I think collectively we can remedy in the short term and continue to address it every year. Update on our graduation plans. We're still scheduled for a June 25th graduation at Park Terrace Elementary School. We are planning to allow 3 guests per graduate. The most recent guidance stated that the graduates themselves do not have to be counted in the limit of 500, so that allows us to increase the number of spectators to 3 per graduate. Well, at this point, we are still required to have proof of vaccination or proof of a negative COVID test within 72 hours for PCR test, 72 hours and a rapid test within 6 hours. So I hope parents and guardians and family members who plan to attend graduation understand that that is something that the Department of Health and State Education certainly expects us to enforce, and we plan to do so. There will be plenty of opportunities for people to be aware of this rule through the high school administration, from central administration, and certainly vaccinations can be had almost anywhere at this point for free. It's amazing to say it, but vaccinations seem to be easier to get these days than the actual rapid test. So I know the rapid test can be purchased at CVS, and I'm sure other drugstores. I saw them there myself. So we hope parents take this seriously because it's something that we're required to do. If they have any questions, please contact the high school administration or my office.
Dave, I have a quick question on graduation. I don't maybe you know the answer already. Are we going to be live streaming the graduation?
Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Thanks for the high school ceremony itself will be live streamed, and we have full faith that Mr. Mustafa will do a good job with that. GHS vaccination clinic. We are having a vaccine clinic in our high school this coming Friday. It's only for 16 through 18-year-olds. May 14th, Friday, May 14th. Students need to have parental permission, so it's both signed by the parent, and I believe a verbal phone call to the parent needs to be had. Cole, have you been made aware of that? The vaccine clinic? Okay. All right. So with this came about pretty quickly, and I think in the next few days we have to make sure that parents who are interested in their child getting vaccinated understand we need to have several forms of parental permission. We are not just going to vaccinate kids who walk in the gym. We need parental permission. It's for the 16 to 17-year-olds. I know some of the vaccines have been reduced for students of younger ages, and I know some people probably have mixed feelings about that. That's certainly understandable. But if able, we will probably try to provide that opportunity as well. And again, it's the prerogative of the parent, the guardian, and we are not pushing it one way or the other, but we just want to provide the opportunity. Obviously, we're back in session K-8 because the vaccine is out there and the numbers are declining. I don't think there's any argument about that. But that said, school district's not in the position or the interest of advocating one way or the other, what people decide to do with their own personal health. But we will provide the opportunities when and where able. The FCC broadband program on the website, on the district website, and on our Facebook page, you may see information regarding an opportunity for people to subsidize their broadband access. It's a federal program in which people get money to help offset the cost of their internet service. The district, at the beginning of the COVID outbreak, purchased a number of hotspots because we had so many students learning remotely. In fact, every student was learning remotely for 4 months last year. Our IT department, Mr. Cooper, had the foresight to recognize the need, and we were actually one of the few school systems that was able to acquire a lot of hotspots. And the district paid for those hotspots and gave them to students, families who needed them. Obviously, that was not going to be a permanent situation. It was desperate times offered desperate measures. We were able to meet that need at that time. All those hotspots purchased by the district will be deactivated, and we're going to ask people to return them to us because they're district purchased. So you'll be getting a letter from me if you didn't receive it already. The letter will be out this week, and in that letter is also the links to the federal broadband program through the FCC. So I encourage people to take advantage of this program. And the Gloversville Police Department Neighborhood Engagement Unit is holding a neighborhood engagement effort on May 20th in the Elk Street Park neighborhood. There will be a press release forthcoming. The school district is participating along with a number of other agencies, Prevention Council, Counseling Center, Fulton County Emergency Management Office, Fulmont Community Action Agency, North Main Street United Methodist Church, Mental Health Association, Planned Parenthood, Fulton County Office of Aging and Youth, National Guard, Gloversville Police Department, Gloversville Neighborhood Quality Assurance, Gloversville Free Methodist Church, Fulton County DA's Office, Fulton County Public Health, and if I left anybody off, I know there's another organization, I Can Speak and I Can Breathe, I Will Speak, is also participating, and I really applaud Chief Clay and the Gloversville Police Department for doing such a great job putting these neighborhood engagement units together, and we're proud to be part of their efforts. Just update on the Juvenile Justice Task Force. The Board of Education is aware that I've been contacting a number of superintendents and policing agencies, law enforcement, the DA's office, probation, Assemblyman Smullen, and on June 16th, we have June 16th at 9 a.m. at HFM, Dr. Ziskin's kind to host our initial Fulton County Juvenile Justice Task Force. It's no mystery that there's a need in our county to look at improving our collective efforts in deterring poor decision-making and behavior of our youth. And we have a number of youths who would stand to benefit from better coordination among these agencies, and I'm really proud to be part of the work that we hope to accomplish. And last but not least, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Wager will speak to the summer SEL curriculum.
Thank you. Planning is underway, put together a different approach to summer learning for our students. At the middle school has traditionally participated in the regional summer school with varying degrees of success. We thought it best this summer to bring our kids into our building, working with as many of our staff as we can to provide opportunities to close some of those learning gaps that we're seeing through the course of this year. So just a brief overview of where we are in the planning process. We're looking at a 5 to 6 week program, second week of July to about the second week of August. Breakfast and lunch available to all the students that participate. We're looking in the morning at 2 45-minute academic blocks that'll rotate through, those blocks will rotate through the core content areas. 30-minute SEL session after the academic blocks. I know our Student Support Services Director, Mr. Collins, Ms. Bellin and Ms. Morgan have been working with the Family Counseling Center and other agencies to be able to provide counselors on staff for our kids to meet those needs. And the afternoon after lunch is really looking at enrichment opportunities. It might be access to the pool, to the gym, intramurals, art, music. We're looking to create as many enrichment opportunities for our students to get them here, keep them connected, and build on some of the successes that we've had this year. It hasn't been all doom and gloom. That folks have worked really, really hard to make it a positive experience. And in addition, in this building, we'll have some of our self-contained special education classrooms from the K-5 level, because the SEL supports and the counseling services will be here, and they'll also benefit from the enrichment activities that are being offered. At the high school, it'll look a little bit different, and some of the credit recovery options for those students, they'll hit the ground running July 1. And it's really, we've taken our senior summer academy model and have expanded that out to include grades 9 through 12. It's flexible scheduling based on teacher availability, student need. Credit recovery requires 20 hours of instruction and passing the appropriate coursework. And for some students, that may take up until our August graduation reporting deadline for the state, which I believe is right around August 18th or 19th every year. And for other students that missed by just a bit, may recover their credit 20 hours, and they may be able to do that in a week and a half, depending on how many hours that they're able to come in and meet the teacher and do that work. We've had success with the Senior Summer Academy, providing that similar credit recovery services for 811 and 1211 students in the past couple of summers, and it is a natural fit to expand that out. The initial response that we've gotten from the teachers in participating has been good. Associate Principal Mr. Bai mentioned today in a meeting that we've got enough teachers to cover every content area, including art, some of those ancillary services that still require credits. So these are the finer details we're not ready to put out just yet, because there's a lot of moving pieces in these secondary programs. But stay tuned. When we get the information in the program nailed down, the building principals will be pushing that information out to all students. Do you have any questions?
I just want to point out, thank you, Ms. Wager, that the federal funding is funding this. And one of the things that I said in the meeting today, the administrators don't always hear, is that money is not an obstacle for this. And this is going to be this for the next 3 years, Kathy? For the next 3 years, spending the money that the federal government has allocated to us for overcoming the COVID obstacles and related issues that students may have as a result. The federal government has determined that it's important to invest in it. We did not want to just hire teachers and with the notion that in 3 years that stream is gone. So we're hoping that what we can do in the summer with credit recovery, enrichment, SEL, will obviously get students, help backfill some of the learning loss that may have occurred, but also get students in a frame of mind to start believing in themselves, wanting to come to school. Gloversville's had an attendance problem long before COVID came about, and it's been exacerbated throughout this pandemic, tremendously exacerbated throughout this pandemic. So when I think about what challenges the district faces in the years ahead, one of them is to get kids re-engaged in school and to build that expectation that they need to be here 5 days a week, 180 days a year to thrive. And we were doing a good job across the district before COVID hit of addressing our attendance issues. And when you shut down school, in-person school for 4 months and then bring back half-time after that, it's an uphill battle. So we're hopeful that this summer can be an enjoyable experience, as Mr. Wager said, and that'll translate into a successful 21-22 school year and beyond. So, really encourage parents and guardians and kids to take advantage of these opportunities and come to school this summer. It's not school in the sense of just bells and classrooms. We want to get you outside. We want to get you moving. We want you to have fun and we're hopeful that class trips can be a part of that, and the different places. And Mr. Bai talked about that there's an obstacle course in Scotia or something. Okay, so the high ropes course, and that's just one of many opportunities we hope to present to the students across the district this summer. And as I said, the fact that money is not an obstacle, that's not typically what school systems talk about. It's like, how are you affording this summer enrichment program that you want to provide? We had the money to do it. So now it's we need the personnel, we need the creativity, and we need buy-in and participation of our students.
So for 3 years, we have.
3 years. Yeah, we have roughly $4 million.
So this is going to replace any like normal summer school?
The costs associated with it, yes.
And the flexible schedule, Jim, do you have a plan for that yet, or? I think you're going to have to draw a line at some point, right?
Yes, it's very similar to the plans that have been refined over time with the Senior Summer Academy, where teachers are here for a block of time. It's not necessarily, it's the hours that they're there is that the compensation hours, and log the student work. So a teacher may be a social studies certified teacher, has 4 kids come from 8 to 10, 2 might be receiving instruction in global history and the other 2 in U.S. history. That's still 1 4-hour block of time or 2-hour block of time. So we created that handbook for last summer with teachers' roles, responsibilities, student roles, responsibilities. That stays in place. We just have more moving pieces to manage, which is another part of our planning process at this point. So I don't have anything set in stone for you just yet, but we will have that prior to bringing staff in and bringing students in to get it done.
Another piece of this, Kevin, is the intramurals. We've talked to Mr. DeMagistris about bringing our coaches in. I know that they've volunteered their time in years past to run camps, and that's great. My thought is we should, while we can, pay them for the camps that they volunteered to run in the past, but also let's have young adults, college kids, whomever, come in and let's get intramurals going on. Let's see kids playing out in these fields Monday through Thursday night until dark. We got a beautiful facility here. We have the money to pay people to supervise it, and we don't want to throw good money after bad. It's got to be well run. It's got to be well supervised, but it's to benefit the kids of this district. And if that, sports are something that some people say, we talk about sports too much, but our modified kids had no sports for the last year, and some of them for the last 4 seasons. That does not translate well when you're trying to build student athletes, because your student athletes graduate. Your students who participate in extracurricular activities, not just sports, but music, drama, those students are not students at risk. So anything that we can do to get students involved in being part of something outside themselves, be part of something bigger, expand their horizons, it's going to translate well into the classroom and beyond. So we're really hopeful that we can build a model that we're really proud of and that it really enriches the lives of kids. But if you build it, they will come. We hope that we have the buy-in because the money's there.
Yeah, I guess my question is, though, with the credit recovery piece, I mean, typically the 20-hour makeup time, you should be able to do in 2 weeks, right?
Depending on the student, we may have a student that is also working and can only come 2 hours on Tuesday, 1 hour Wednesday, and that's it for the week that they have room. And for that particular class, or the rotating through classes. So that's what strings it out, because not every kid can. Traditional summer school, they get locked into a number of days. They don't come certain days, certain times, they're out. And we found that's not successful for our kids, where if they have some flexibility in their scheduling, got one teacher who teaches living environment in the summer. Teacher says, I'm here, I can be here these times. And the student says, well, I can come on this day, on Tuesday and Friday, but on these days. Okay, let's get those hours, come mid-August, the clock stops. We have our August graduation reporting timeline. And the idea is, that flexibility, one, helps us bring bring our own teachers in to be able to provide that instruction, and two, for those kids who have circumstances that are outside of our norms for reasons that they have, still have the opportunity to make credit. And the more kids we can get on solid footing come September, and doing it the right way, get them have them do the work, get them here with people that they know, and provide them a positive experience, we're going to be in better shape if we don't do that otherwise. We just can't jam everybody into the same container, which makes the management a little more challenging on our end, but that system's gotten better over the last couple of years, and we'll need some really clear oversight and some coordination in management to make it work.
I just worry about the message that's sent that, I'm sure there is that they do have circumstances why they can't make it, but, I mean, I know that we've had other situations over the years too, that kids just stop showing up, and...
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
But this is a whole additional layer of uncertainty in a school year like we've never had before.
Sure.
So,
And yeah, we've got this federal money that we're gonna be able to pay for 3 years, but we set a precedent. I mean, what's it gonna be like after that?
well,
I mean, eventually these kids are gonna have to go to work someday, and they can't just show up to work when they want, so.
my focus right now is getting them the credits to graduate. That's our immediate concern. But you're right, there are long-term consequences and outcomes, but short-term, let's get them to recover some credits and get there. And as the world turns around, we can make some transitions back.
And the hope is to build the expectations back up to
Yeah.
5 days a week instruction. And we have a grading policy that we've changed this year to reflect the environment. We don't plan to keep that. I hope students and parents understand what we've done as far as modifying our grading policy is to reflect the reality of what they've been through. It's not to lower the standards so kids can put a less than full effort into their education. Because then so you're right, we're not serving anybody if we're making it so easy for them to graduate that they're going to hit a wall in the real world. And my hope is that with this summer enrichment opportunities, credit recovery opportunities, we get kids hopefully back 5 days a week in person, all students, that we can start ratcheting up the expectations to points that maybe they haven't been in a long time, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Any other questions?
I did have a question. The vaccine clinic, what vaccine are they administering? Do you know? Some people may want to know.
I think it's a
that.
Pfizer. Pfizer?
Yes, I believe so.
I believe it's Pfizer.
And a comment, the Juvenile Justice Task Force. I want to thank you for your leadership in that. I know that you have been persistent and you have been vocal. And I think that as a citizen of Gloversville, as a member of this board, I applaud your leadership, so thank you.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I was motivated due to external circumstances that were heartbreaking.
Do we have a plan for elementary summer program yet, or is that Lori's presentation?
Lori's going to...
All right, I don't want to steal that then. All right, if there's no other questions, Superintendent will move on to the administrative report. Lori Kahn.
I'm Lori Kent, the Director of Elementary Curriculum and Instruction, and this evening I'm going to focus on a little bit of what we've experienced and how it's changed us and how to move forward in an efficient way. On March 2020, our school shut down because of the COVID-19, and it changed our traditional school model completely. We became hybrid, remote, synchronous, asynchronous, and that became part of our daily lives. Technology products and professional development needs exploded as we rose to meet those needs. And I can say that I'm very proud of the district that it rose to that occasion. So how do we move forward from here? The interrupted school experiences, and it could be due to every other day instruction, it could be remote online instruction, it could be students with excessive absences. What do we focus on? What we went about is looked at what is our largest area of need that we had. We went out trying to identify the best curriculum and technology materials that we could find. We identified essential standards, and I'll show you an example of that in just a second, by using the Capital Region BOCES support. And we are going to be reviewing assessments to assure that we know quickly what essential standards students know and what ones they're still learning. We're going to be offering different academic support programs to deliver additional instruction, and also summer curriculum mapping to ensure consistent grade level expectations. Many of us have talked about within the district that the COVID slide focused the average student lost more in math than they did in reading. That comes from the fact that when you're teaching math, there's a lot of hands-on instruction. If you're down at the kindergarten level, you may be teaching kids how to group things together to get to 10, and you're moving little manipulatives. In the upper level, say grade 5, you may be teaching fractions and equivalent fractions, and there's multiple steps. That's very hard to do in remote learning, and students struggle. So Education Week brought that up, and I did look deeply into our data, and that is true. One of the things that we did go on to look at was the math resources that we had. They were the old Common Core math materials. So what we did is we looked for materials that had increased rigor and mathematical practices. Almost all of the programs that were reviewed ended up having focus and coherence that was strong. And then the rigor and mathematical practices, you can get a total of 18 points through these reports, and it settled at a 17. So it was much higher than resources that we were using in the past. So, on the next slide. One of the things that we look at is saying that what essential knowledge does every child need to have at each grade level? Well, Cap Region BOCES have been working on a resource for all of the region, and what they did is they listed all of the standards, and then the ones that are emphasized are in bold. So these are, and I'll go back to the idea of fractions, is that within 3rd grade, 4th grade, and then 5th grade, fractions just explode. So that's essential knowledge that kids have to have within their learning. So once we have looked and picked the essential standards to be able to monitor students on, then looking at quick assessment materials to identify gaps in instructional practices. Now currently we have benchmarking for kids pre-K through 5. For example, in the littles, we would use letters and sounds. How many letters and sounds do they know? We have our Francis and Pinnell reading levels, and we have English language arts and mathematical assessments. So we are looking at how we can progress monitor with very quick, essential standard assessments, and that will be able to drive our instruction. We're also looking and saying, next one. No. All right, so we're looking at different types of interventions. We did start our after-school tutoring already in our K through 5, pre-K through 5 buildings. We're also putting our normal elementary summer learning academy, July 12th through August 5th at Kingsborough School. We will be having the academics in the morning and enrichment programs in the afternoon. Examples of that, we have a very creative fifth grade teacher who's going to do filmmaking with our students. We also have another program where it's STEM challenges for kids at a number of different levels, and we have all kinds of enriching activities for the kids. Usually we have a wonderful program there, and we're looking forward to that again. And we are going to be changing and requesting, normally we would start our after-school tutoring in January after Christmas, and we're planning to look at an October start for tutoring rather than waiting until a December time period, or December, January. Summer curriculum mapping is essential. What we're going to do is take a look at what we had for our old program, and we're going to lay it along the curriculum maps that we're going to be creating for, or they have their curriculum, and compare how it is, how the two compare, and which ones, what kind of changes do we need to make to it, when do we do benchmarking. We map a pacing calendar out throughout to go for the whole entire year so that we know what areas we are going to look at for essential standards that need to have that time expanded, and what areas can we shrink up because we still have the same amount of time. So we curriculum map for that so that the grade level teams will have a plan for starting in September. And we'll also take some time to review and align the progress monitoring assessments that we already have quarterly throughout the year. So we're going to hit the ground running. We have a lot of materials that we've already sourced and run through the business office for approval, so that we've already started and looked at unfinished learning, and are looking forward to moving forward again in a quick way when we come back to school next year. Are there any questions at this time?
Lori, aside from the STEM science, extracurricular activities, what other ideas have been thrown around?
We have arts and literacy. What that means is that they may take, and I'll take a primary one, the book Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, and the kids in that group enjoy the story, and then they have craft projects and art projects surrounding that type of thing. We also have team building activities where kids are working together with a teacher, create different types of team challenges that they have experiences that they have with us. So it's a full program in the afternoon. Okay, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the student board member report. You're up, Cole.
I did a report on how the students and the GHS felt, how the school did with COVID overall throughout the year, and it wound out pretty well. A lot of students thought the school was pretty good with quarantine. If you were on quarantine, you were alerted, and then you were easily be able to go into online learning, then back out of it throughout the year. People liked the hybrid model a lot. With splitting people up, it made people feel more comfortable throughout the year, knowing there's not so many people in the school. A lot of people enjoyed that on the first day of Huskies. I don't know if it was for Dragons, but we had the one-way hallways around the entire high school, and a lot of people were not fans of that, and they were very excited that they got rid of it quickly. A lot of people were late to their classes, but they were happy it was fixed. And a lot of people were happy and appreciated that the school and the board tried their best to make it a normal year, the best they could, with allowing sports and clubs and other activities to be able to be done. And then there was some students that felt like there was a lot of work, but that was a common trend through like other reports throughout the year. It's always the same kids, and I know some of them, so it's a lot of senioritis, you could say. But all in all, a lot of students felt like it was a fairly well school year underneath the circumstances. Any questions?
winter, using the pool.
Laura, you spoke to that, right? But the elementary academies using the pool?
The elementary at Heathrow will not be using the pool because the programs up here will.
We don't, there's no way to schedule any, even like a half day on a Friday or something for them to come up? The more swimmers we can help develop, better. I mean, that would get me to come. I'd like to see trips even to Northampton campsites and things like that. As I said, money's not an issue, so I would love to see buses, kids going to Northampton on a nice Friday, and spending the day up there doing restorative circles or artwork under the pavilion. I mean, really, we have to be creative and think outside the box to make this a really exciting experience so the kids can't wait to come back in September.
Dave, would it be possible to have things like water slide bounce houses here on campus?
Kathy, what do you think? Think that'll pass the,
I don't think, well, no, not the money wise, I'm thinking insurance.
oh, yeah.
I think that's a huge liability.
We'd probably take them to a water park.
Yeah. What about like the mobile petting zoo that brings like the ponies and the chickens and the, you know, things like that that can come here?
Yeah, could be.
But kids would absolutely love.
As far as I'm concerned, everything's on the table as long as it's safe and appropriate.
And bring like bunnies and things that kids can
Yeah.
pet and.
No anacondas, right? You know, one thing I did mention is the middle school, high school drama production. I got to see the dress rehearsal, and I was really, really impressed. And I'm sure it's out, I'm just going to give them a plug because they're outstanding. And I think people can purchase it online.
Sunday.
It's this Sunday? So where do they go? It's on our website? Okay, anybody watching? Little Mermaid's outstanding. Ariel, great singer. Sebastian. They did a fantastic job. So thank you to Mrs. Flynn and all the people who were part of that. And to see the kids back involved in things like that, it's not just sports, it's the students who are more art centered. Really happy to see those kids back on the stage. So it's well worth it.
All right, next we have recommended items, 7.01 through 16.02. Any questions or comments on those? Motion to approve those items by Kelly, seconded by Kevin. All in favor? All right, Marissa, you're official now. Welcome aboard. I'll take a motion to go into executive session to discuss a contract item. Then seconded by, oh, there's Kelly. All in favor? Aye. There'll be no action taken afterwards. Thank you for joining us.